Hello and welcome to the return of Technique Tuesdays. Took a couple weeks off there if you're following these more consistently to recover from a knee surgery. And as you can see, I'm going to do today's tip sitting down. And that is because we're going to be working on hand waves. And it is also because I'm still recovering from that surgery and still kind of taking it easy on myself with the dancing that involves a lot of knee action. So let's get into it. Let's talk about hand waves. I'm going to begin with my hands as though I've got them just sort of sitting on top of a table or a bar, something about bar height. And you can see my elbows are straight out. And it's really good to practice this way as opposed to letting those elbows droop down, because what we really need to activate to make these hand waves work are the wrists. So think about touching those middle fingers together and keeping them in one place, lifting the wrists up, dropping the wrists down as the elbows stay relatively still and those middle fingers stay anchored in one spot. Dropping it down, lifting it up, dropping it down. This is a great little exercise to activate the wrists. My fingers are together. My thumb is not tucked under the palm of my hand, but it is touching the palm of my hand. It's not sticking out. I realize with this camera angle you can't see those thumbs. You're going to have to trust me. Lifting up and dropping it down and lifting it up and dropping it down. All right, go ahead and relax that. You find that those arms get tired pretty quickly. Now I want you to go ahead and take one hand on top of the other. Those elbows are still straight across. I want you to lift that wrist up, peel the fingers up, drop the wrist back down to where it touches your other hand, and then sort of roll through the hand back to the fingertips. So we're going to go up, peel the fingers up, and those fingers, as you notice, I'm going to keep talking while we do this, are soft. They're curving, but what they're not doing is purposefully curling through the fingers. That's something we want to avoid here. We just want to lift up, have a nice, pretty, smooth line, bring it back down, up with minimal movement in that elbow, and one more here, and down. Take a little moment, and let's do the other hand on top. So we bring the wrist up, peel those fingertips up, set the wrist down, roll through the hand. Wrist up and down. Again, trying to make sure that elbow stays as still as you can make it. And down, wrist up, wrist down, fingers down, wrist up. Again, we're being soft in the fingers, but we're not purposefully bending and articulating through them. We just want a nice, pretty wave. All right, relax again. Okay, so as you can see, rather than thinking of the hand wave being all about the hand and the fingers themselves, we're really driving this from the wrist. I'll show you my watchless wrist. It's probably easier to see. We're really driving this by lifting that wrist, dropping it down, lifting the wrist, dropping it down. And then the hands and fingers just follow suit. All right, so we're going to do now both hands at the same time with those fingertips together, and then we're going to separate them and see if we can keep that control. So wrists come up, roll it through, wrist down, roll it through. So now we do have a little raising and lowering of those fingertips, but it's still about energizing through that wrist to lift up and down, keeping those elbows still, up and down. We're going to take one more here, up and down. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to separate it. Now that they're separate, I can make them a little smaller, a little more fluid, up and down, up and down. Just a couple more like this. This is our basic hand wave. Working through those wrists, keeping those elbows as still as possible and under control. and relax. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and bring those hands up to where we were practicing our hand waves. I'm just going to lift and drop. Lift and drop. Just a few more until we get a steady beat. Lift, drop. There we go. Lift and drop. Okay, from here, our home position, let's slide those arms out to second. Now in this position, it's really important to just use wrist and fingers. It gets really easy to involve the whole arm. We just want hands. Wrist through the fingers. Change your angle if you like. All right, next one, I'm going to use those wrists to draw my arms up and then press it out. In and out. Again, trying not to move those elbows. Turn the palms in. Wrists are now going out, then in. Out, in. We're going to keep those elbows in. Pull them down. Now, at a certain point, we have to turn those hands over and we're down, framing those hips. Out and in. Again, keeping the elbows still. Now we're going to work them back up to our second position. I find this one challenging because I always want to lift with my elbows, and here I'd rather lift with my wrists so that I don't turn this into a full arm movement. Let's take one more lift up, out, in, out, turn the hand, out, in, pull those elbows down, out, in, out, in, out, in. Let's bring it back up the outside. And let's take that home slide back into where we began. Hey, thanks for joining me for the technique tip of the week. And just know that you can like and subscribe. I upload one of these videos every single week with a little technique tip followed by a little drill. So please like and subscribe, and I will see you again soon.